Hello and welcome back to the PC Gamer Weekender livestream. I'm still Zoe and I'm here with Stefan, who's going to talk to me a bit about Biomutant. But first, we have a trailer to watch.
Let's do that. Okay, let's watch the new trailer now.
Okay, that works too.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So, Biomutant. That main character has featured a lot in a lot of the art I've seen about it. Can you tell me a bit about him?
The main character?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's a furry mammal, right?
Yeah.
So, and he knows Kung Fu. So in the game we call it, in the studio, it's a more post-apocalyptic Kung Fu fable. I mean, Kung Fu, he knows Kung Fu, obviously. And it's not like the traditional Kung Fu that you might think of in terms of Sanda or Sun Tzu or Bruce Lee. It's more crazy. So for example, there are tribe master Sifus in the world that can teach you new styles, and it's more like chicken Kung Fu, turtle Kung Fu. But originally, you know a little bit of cool moves also in regards of guns. So it's, you can say that it's gun fu too, and it's a little bit more like Hong Kong action movies, like John Woo style. Can hang in the air, shoot, and then go immediately to sword fighting, etc.
Amazing.
So it's a furry animal, and I mean, we made an original design in the studio, but a major thing in the game is that you can actually create your own version of this character, right? So hopefully we can jump into that.
Yeah, definitely.
So the character creator, this is the first time we're actually showing it on the show floor here, PC Gamer Weekender. So if we are running this video, I'm sorry about that.
Working. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, so the big thing here is like the visual look is in tandem with the attributes.
Oh,
so you see on the left-hand side here, you have kind of this DNA wheel. So there's 5 corners: strength, attributes, for example, intelligence, vitality, that's your health region. So they all, if you see on the right-hand side, they own certain statistics. But that's in tandem then with the look of your character. So not only do you change the visual look, but it also change the stats related to that look. So a big head, you get smart.
Funny that.
Yeah, and smartness is used then to psionic abilities, for example. So it gives you more powerful mental abilities, your kind of X-Men abilities. Because we don't only have biomutations, that are the physical ones, we also have the mental X-Men style abilities. So you also, as you can see, have full control over your fur style, all the coloring, etc. So we have, it's not only about the stats, it's also about personalizing your look. You can also play as female, which is very interesting.
That's good, I like that, being a girl myself.
So, and later on in the game you can actually recode your DNA again and change it, and obviously you can also upgrade your stats. It's a full-blown RPG in the background, so you can use your level up points to assign to different attribute groups.
Yeah. But I understand, of course, character isn't all there is. There's also 500,000 weapon combinations?
Yeah,
is that real?
Yeah, I mean, we did a calculation in the first year of development only for ranged weapons. So let's jump into that. So it's the ranged weapon combinations. Sorry, Anne.
That's all right.
You talked about that. It's 500,000 possible combinations. The first year that we did that. So as you see here, this is from the demo, we're just randomizing weapon parts, just to give you an idea of what combinations are kind of possible. But in the real game, you're actually putting together all of these bits yourself. So in terms of combinations, each weapon type determines kind of the way that a weapon shoots. So you can have shotgun style, assault rifle style, revolver style. You can have a single-handed weapon, dual wield, two single-handed, but you can also wear a two-handed weapon, right? All of the bits come in different materials, they come in different qualities, and you can also add affixes to it. And affix is like, for example, a cryogenic module that will now enable the weapon to shoot frost bullets, for example. Another thing with our game is that you are not grinding for ammunition. We wanted you to be able to have that free-flowing style of being able to shoot almost at any time you want. The way that we control that, or give you the opportunity to actually upgrade the weapon, is by the size of the clips. So the bigger size, the more bullets you can fire before you go out of ammo, and you have a short period of cooldown, which also varies then from bit to bit. So that's ranged weapons.
Nice.
We also have melee weapons.
Hit things real hard, of course you do.
And same thing goes here. There's different types of melee weapons, so hack, slash, pierce, crush. Same thing here.
Ouch.
Two single-handed dual wielding, or like this one, it's a two-handed weapon. Again, here you see a biocontaminated affix, so that affix will make enemies puke, and then also they take damage over time. So you get a little bit more time window to actually take them out. Same thing goes for them. They are existing in different qualities, different materials, and also then put the modules on that. So there's quite a lot to, player creativity, player freedom here to create their own variants of weapons.
That's great, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously you want the perfect world to do all this kind of stuff in. So what's kind of the premise of the world? What kind of enemies can you expect to encounter?
Yeah, I think the first question I want to also there's two big things in the game in terms of the world. So we call it post-apocalyptic, but it's not that you're playing in the aftermath of a nuclear bomb that blew up, and you play in a brown or monochrome world.
No thanks.
You're actually playing as the world is dying, and your actions have a consequence towards the end play. Is the world going to go under or not? So you can actually interfere with that. So if you want to play as a really evil player, I guess you're going to go for the apocalypse, right? So the representation of what we have for that in the game is a huge tree at the center of the world. It's a tree of life, essentially, that has 5 huge roots stretching across the world. At the end of each of these roots, there's a huge creature. And you saw it at the end of that trailer, there's one of them. So there's 5 different ones that is gnawing at the root, infecting the tree. So if you want to save the tree, one way of tackling that problem is defeating each of these bosses, or a few of them, and that will increase the percentage chance of world survival. And at the end of the game, we will look at, let's say you play, and you have 33% of chance of world survival. We'll actually roll towards that. Mm-hmm. The other thing in terms of the world that is quite important is that there are 6 tribes in the world. Each is ruled by a tribe master Sifu, a kung fu master, that then is able to teach you their specific style of kung fu, but you can also ally with them. So for example, if you ally with an evil, because we have a yin-yang karma system, you can help him take out the other tribes, so conquer them. You also then have a choice to either kill that other tribe leader or subdue him, and that will also play into the end of your game. But you can also play as good, blue, and then you can have unite the tribe leaders. That will also play in towards your end. So those are the 2 big things, I think, towards the end game. There's also the third thing that is quite important and goes back to who are you? You asked the first question, and that's the story about you. So we're not trying to tell you the story about the world as it were before this happened. We're more trying to tell you the story of who you are and where you came from, and kind of why you're here. So again, we're trying to tell you the story of what happens right now, and it's all about the characters more than the world, in terms of retrospective.
I guess a big part about the characters is the fact that as you go on, you don't stay the same, like you can mutate to access new bits of the world and stuff, so can you tell me a bit about that? Yeah,
so, again, but the character design, so we design a character that we think is representative for the character that we would like to play. Today on the show floor, you can actually see the first glimpse of the full mutation system, and now I call it, you can actually make a Muppet. Because, because they look crazy, right? A motto in the studio is weird in a good way, and we try to make it, whimsical, and we don't take ourselves too serious. So before, like this autumn, I always got the question, so what kind of animal is this? Is it a raccoon, cat, etc.? But we were always thinking, yeah, wait until you see what we're actually doing, because they look more weird than your typical animal. But yeah, our first animal it looks kind of a mix of a raccoon, cat, but it even has influences like, I have 2 Boston Terriers. If you look on the nose of that original character, it kind of looks like similar to one of my Boston Terriers.
Aww.
So it's a mix of a lot of things. But in the game, you can actually create, your own Muppet, but they're all going to be mammals, right? So that's an important fact.
Yeah. So what kind of different abilities can you get then the further on you get in the game? Like, can you fly? Can you like?
Yeah, let's have a look here. I mean, the game is called Biomutant for a reason. So you can mutate. So let's see if I'm successfully running the movie. So there's a couple of different ways to get mutations. So biomutations are obviously a natural next step, right? Because the game is called Biomutant. So there's these pools spread out across the open world. So you can find them, and that's where you can actually unlock, upgrade, and gain new physical mutations, hence biomutations. In order to do that, you have to have biopoints, and you get them by defeating these infected, biocontaminated creatures called morks. For each mork you defeat, you get a biopoint, but also they're quite dangerous because they're contaminated and they infect you. So types of mutations you will get, like big crab pinchers on your back. You'll be able to pinch people, lift them up, throw them away. But you can also get like a mutated shoulder that you can reflect bullets on enemies if they shoot at you. And there's quite a few of them that you can mix into your arsenal of creative combat, but also traversal. The other strain of mutations is what we call psionic mutations. So your X-Men mutations. You gain those, upgrade, unlock those by finding bunkers beneath the world, surface of the world, where it's old radioactive broken down machines. So kind of Bruce Banner going, and the Hulk.
Hulking
so
out.
you can see here the poor character is being exposed to radioactivity.
It's a little bit painful.
Yeah, I'm looping it here also, so it becomes more extreme.
Yeah.
But that's how you unlock those type of X-Men type of abilities. I want to show you a few of these. So this is kind of a bubble, a mental sphere, but in our game it's not a force field, it's more like a soap bubble or a gel bubble. And again, you see that they're shooting at him, it's reflecting bullets, but what happens if you mix that with an ability, for example, like this one, levitate? So now you are levitating inside that gel bubble.
Amazing.
So what happens if you land? I'll leave that to you to figure it out.
Bad things happen to the people you're fighting, I assume?
Maybe you're bouncing.
Oh yeah, that's
so again, we're trying to figure out whimsical, cool ways for the player to explore and mix and match things. Here's another then, telekinesis, also an X-Men type of ability.
Yes, gold, Jean Grey, definitely.
You can lift different things, let it up to the player to figure out what you can lift and how you can combine that with the other powers in the game. I would like to touch on the third leg of this, even if people don't have 3 legs, but animals walk on 4, so maybe that's cool. So it's bionics, so it's like prosthetic and enhancements to the character, and they're a mix between things that you can use in combat, as we see in this video as well. Later on, I'll show you that, sorry, and then this video is more about exploration. I saw the bow, that's what I was reacting to. But in this clip, I'm actually showing you how you can use the bionic bow for traversal. So I'm shooting an arrow into the mountainside, and I think this is the only game I know where you actually can grab the arrow after you shoot it and follow it through the air.
That's some Legolas stuff there.
That I'm doing here. And you can also obviously drop from that at any time and shoot an arrow overhead of enemies and drop down or spray enemy. But you also see then bionic gliding wings. You cannot fly, but you can glide. And these are unlocked by having a relationship with a character that we call Whiz. It's a small furry yellow guy with a springy tail that is kind of a crazy inventor. And if you start working with him, helping him out, he will help you build these inventions. Jump pack, why not?
Yep, always a good thing.
And it's a different thing from levitate, because here it's actually using as an area of effect, damage type of thing. And obviously power fist.
Definitely.
Why not?
You've got to be able to hit things super hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're trying to give you as much as possible in terms of an arsenal of a creative toolbox.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that you can kind of go almost anywhere in the world, like it's not super linear, which is great. So what's it been like trying to create an open world after you were working on Just Cause?
Well, Just Cause is it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, one being that in Just Cause we made it so you can fly a jet plane, right? So we have to have a little bit larger world. And also I think the stunts are on a grander scale. That doesn't mean that we don't have cool things, but we're trying to think, in Biomutant we try to make it a little bit more personal, more character related, whilst in Just Cause then it's on a bigger scale, focused on destruction, and so we have more about the character. I think in terms of the size, it's not so important. It's about filling it with interesting things to do and trying to give you that sense of exploration and finding new things as you progress in the world. So at the get-go, I mean, the first 25 minutes of the game, we kind of hold your hand to teach you the basics, teach you the ropes. After that, we just open up the world. You're free to go anywhere, but we will gate you in different ways.
Yeah.
So, for example, in the dead zone, you can go in there, but you will start to suffocate. So one way of going a little bit deeper, equip a gas mask, oxygen tank, but I think the best way there is to actually start working with Gizmo, another crazy character in the game. It's a black-fingered grease monkey. He's a mechanic, and his dream is to rebuild his mech. And if you're kind enough to work with him, maybe he'll let you take it for a ride.
Maybe.
And obviously that will be a mean for you to go deeper into that area of the game.
Yeah.
But I have some videos here to see if we can get that running. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
So we're talking about different biomes. So we haven't shown a lot of those biomes. There's currently 7 different, like distinctly different looking areas in the world, and you saw a glimpse of the first one here in the background of this furry creature. They all have kind of different creatures, different type of enemies, and also the key characters that you can meet in the world. There's a number of them, are also obviously then spread out across the world. We also see that in this video that we have a dynamic weather system, but also seasonal system. And this is not only just visual. You see he's running across the ice here, and again, traversing the world. This is one way that we're gating you. So for example, it becomes cold, right? What happens to water? So before, you see that he can't really swim. You see in one of these clips here, he's sprawling like
working,
a dog.
Yeah.
So you can swim for shorter stretches, but what happens when the water freezes? So maybe you then can access other areas of the world that you couldn't before. We also see he's running from oil here. So part of the story in the world is that it's, like I said, it's currently being going under, right? And part of that is oil seeping up through the ground. So that will then work as a contradiction towards the ice. Now areas that you could go to before are now filled with oil, and maybe you can't reach them unless you, I don't know, levitate or have a bow.
It's probably a way to do it one way or another.
There's always a way for you to try to figure out how to reach that area.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can't wait to explore it for myself. Biomutant looks intriguing, to say the least, yeah. Keep tuned, and up next in 10 minutes we'll have Spellforce 3, so make sure to watch to see what that's about.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.